abrupt. We were on the air all of a sudden. It's 12:39 Eastern time. I'm not tired yet. This is SportsCenter. Scott Van Pelt with you until a time to be determined. Happy to be with you following the NBA draft. Live reaction from Woj, Windhorst, Russillo, Schmitz, here to help us try to make sense of the draft. Plus, Kawhi at the Blue Jays game. He and the reigning champs tied into the draft day one big thing. Not always where you get picked now, is it? And with the draft in the rear view, Woj and Windhorst standing by to fill us in on free agency. Which team cleared the way for KD, potentially? But first, the very best thing I saw today. You're in a basketball mood, so let's give you a little playoffs from Italy. Venezia, Dinamo Sassari, and Tyus McGee, former Cyclone from Iowa State, with the shake, and then watch out! Oh. Tyrus McGee. Go ahead, Tyrus. Shake down the lane, and go ahead, Dirk.
Shut it down!
That's an underutilized drop. Poor 50 has to quit. That guy. Wow! McGee had 10. Sassari forces a game 7 Saturday with a 10-point win. That was international basketball. That was in Italy, by the way, if I didn't mention that. All right, so the genuine raw emotion of the top picks tonight was memorable to me. Zion knew he was going 1. But when he was standing there with Mom after he got picked, trying to do the interview, and the big man could not hold back the tears any longer, it's beautiful.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I didn't think I'd be in this position. My mom sacrificed a lot for me.
And Zion, I know you said you didn't believe that you would be here in this moment. When did that belief change? Was it shaking the commissioner's hand and officially being the pick?
Yeah. It don't even seem real that I just shook his hand. I dreamed about this since I was 4. And for it to actually happen, I just thank God for it.
Again, we knew he was going 1. He did as well. Still, the emotion fantastic. One big thing on the emotion of the night as well. The rest of the draft, well, it was a mystery beyond the very top. And is it bad that I don't know who a lot of guys are going to play for still? Like right now, I feel like it's my job to know that, but I honestly don't really. So many players are being drafted by one team who are drafting for another team, and they have to wear the hats for the teams they aren't going to play for. We've covered this before. It's kind of dumb. I'm just so confused, but here to help us focus in. Focus is the key word. I see you laughing. You didn't go to the thesaurus this year. We just went focused, which is fine. Woj, great night tonight, as usual. But if we were to try to sum up what the league-wide goal of the evening was on a night where you said they would challenge the number of trades, and they did, what was sort of the overall league-wide thinking?
Well, I think you saw a pattern of teams, you know, who want to be big players in free agency start to set themselves up for that. You know, Boston now potentially has $26 million in cap space. Brooklyn and the Clippers are in position to have 2 max contracts. You know, the Lakers went out and bought a pick, and, you know, they're starting to fill out their roster. But this draft, in a lot of ways, is very much a prelude to what's coming in July, and I thought that both New Orleans and Atlanta really helped themselves. Atlanta's done a terrific job in these last 2 drafts.
Woj, I'm begging you as a friend, just turn your phone off. Go to bed. Just for 6 hours. Give yourself a 6-hour window and then wake up and fight again another day, all right?
I'm going to go have a beer, Scott.
Or that. Thanks so much, Woj.
Right, thanks,
fantastic
Scott.
Work from Adrian Wojnarowski. All right, time to do your research on the top of the draft. Zion Williamson, 10th straight freshman to go first overall. 3rd time a Duke player has been taken first overall. He joins Elton Brand and Kyrie Irving. We knew that was coming. We knew this was coming. Ja Morant of Mary, present state, taken 2nd overall. Dylan Windler from Belmont, 26. That gave the Ohio Valley Conference as many first-round picks as the Big 10, Big 12, and Pac-12. Go ahead, OVC. We see you out there, and all told, the ACC had 6 of the 14 players taken in the lottery. That sets a record for the most picks in a lottery for a single conference. Kobe White and Cam Jordan taken out of Carolina. Here's White at the podium when he found out his teammate went 11th.
Cameron Johnson just went 11th. How do you react to that news?
He went what?
11th
Cam
in the
Johnson
draft.
11th.
Yep. It's right on the screen right there. Wow. Wow. Wow, bro. That's crazy. That's so love, bro. Because if y'all know Cam, you don't know how hard Cam worked. And, you know, it's a lot of people that doubt him. But, wow, bro, it's that's crazy, bro. Wow, that's so crazy.
It would have been crazy if Cam Jordan was picked. Cam Johnson was. If I misspoke, my apologies there. But the emotion's so cool. Ryen Russillo is back. And when you came in tonight, around 7 o'clock, you said, look, it could be a free-for-all, right? And that's before Cam goes at 11, Okeke out of Auburn goes 16. As these picks are coming in that do seem kind of out of left field, like, how are you processing this in real time?
So all the calls you make leading up, then it heats up the last couple of days, you start getting, you know, whatever you think is real or some of the stuff that isn't going to be real. And you're like, this thing's all over the place. Like, even with the top 10 picks, you kind of knew the names, but then you knew around 10 or 11, it didn't make any sense. Like, Rui Hachimura is a perfect example, okay? So he was somebody that was thought to maybe go 10, maybe Charlotte was trying to move up at 12 to go ahead and get him. I called 2 other teams, they go, we have picks in the 20s and we wouldn't even take them. So then you're thinking, well, wait, this is all, like, teams were all over the place in their evaluations after, say, the top 8 players. Langford at Indiana, who ends up going to Boston at 14. There was rumors going around the last couple of days that they were trying to find a landing spot for him, that he was going to slip.
His agents?
Yeah.
They're that concerned.
So this, you knew it was going to be wild. The trades, like, I hope to in a week know where everybody went.
So I wasn't overstating that, right?
No.
Like, I mean,
Tonight was
right?
aggressive.
Kind of aggressive with the trades.
With the movement. But I think the best way to sum this up is Nasir Little. You're a recruiting geek about this. Yep. We knew when he came in at UNC, he was one of the top guys in high school.
Played great McDonald's game.
Yeah, and he falls out of favor a little bit there, but he's still big, he's physical. I heard the workouts are great. People liked him as a kid. He goes 25th to Portland. I text somebody on Portland, go, where'd you have him on the board? And they go, 12th. They're like, we're stunned we end up with this guy.
So maybe Rui on the one end where he went higher than some teams thought, and then Little
Absolutely.
on the other end where he went lower than Portland would have thought. Does it say that from an evaluation standpoint, there's basically zero difference between maybe 10 and 30 in this draft? I mean, is that overstating it?
You know, I can't say that you're wrong. I mean, it sounds absurd on paper to go, you know, 11 and 30 are the same. But my first draft was 2003, okay? I've never, going into a draft, been more or as uncertain as I was tonight, and that's exactly how it played out. I mean, there were surprises along the way, and then you're just going, okay, well, wait a minute, how can this team have a guy at 25 that another team has at 9? Well, that was the story of tonight's draft.
Now, the story of tonight's draft was you need to have slacks that are really, really high and no socks. That's what tonight's story
I'm not wearing socks.
Aren't you?
I forgot to pack them.
Really? Well, that's an entirely different sort of deal.
But I fit in. If I were drafted, I would have fit right in.
Well, free agent, best available on the board, Russillo. We're going to talk about free agency coming up in a bit. More with Russillo. Plus, Kyrie and Durant to New York, but not the Knicks, maybe the Nets? That'll be in a little bit. Also, story of the night. We'll talk to our guy Schmitz. He's so good at this. I want to know his biggest takeaways from the evening. And as I mentioned, maybe KD's headed to New York after all, but a different borough. That would not play well among the Knicks fans.
And that's real good, cause
The Will Kane Show on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Should the Brooklyn Nets go all in on Kyrie Irving, or if they can't get KD, say goodbye to both of them? It's the Will Kane Show on ESPN Radio, and you can hit me up on the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed at Will Kane. Stephen A. Smith on the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio, a place I've been hanging out recently. When you don't catch me, by the way, on the Will Kane Show, if you ever hear Bob Wischusen or others filling in, I appreciate them doing so, because what I'm doing usually is not putting my feet up and having a Mai Tai. It is that I've been hanging out a little bit earlier in the day filling in for Stephen A. So if you don't hear me, then I believe we're still putting up the 2 hours I do on the Stephen A. Smith Show on the Will Kane Show podcast feed. I'm not 100% sure. There's some guys back in the control room that can answer that. That's true?
That is true. What's up, Nuno?
And you should catch me there. Here is what Stephen A. Smith had to say when he got back to his show about the Nets' future with Kyrie Irving.
It's been widely believed over the last couple of weeks anyway that
Kyrie Irving was definitively going to Brooklyn. Well, what's the problem there? I told y'all weeks ago, very, very few teams want Kyrie by himself. It's not that he's not a superstar talent and a basketball player, because we all know how terrific he is. The problem is that the noise that you hear about his locker room presence, you know, and the kind of effect he can have on a team, whether it's due to his style of play or due to his temperament, et cetera, you've got people questioning whether Kyrie being the face of your franchise by his lonesome is the right thing to do. It didn't work for Boston last season. Why would it work for you now? Here's my opinion. Kyrie Irving is a superstar talent. Kyrie Irving can flat out ball. But he can't be your very best player if you're going to win a championship.
There should be no questions. Teams should not be questioning whether or not signing Kyrie Irving as your 1A or as your lone superstar is a good idea. There should only be answers, because what we have is experience. We know who Kyrie Irving is. He's a 1B. Possibly a 2. He needs to be next to another superstar. He needs to be next to a LeBron James or a Kevin Durant. He does not need to be by himself leading a group of youngsters. He does not need to be on the Brooklyn Nets without Kevin Durant. We just did this, did we not? This isn't a hot take. This isn't some kind of thin limb I'm climbing out on this tree. It's the kind of smarts that keeps you from getting burned by a stove twice. You put your hand on it, hot. Second time, if you touch it again, that one's on you. Kyrie Irving was just on the Boston Celtics as the 1A around a bunch of young dudes who had accomplished something and had some veteran leadership presence you thought would thin it out or soften it up, even out the edges in Al Horford. And what happened? They were less than they were before Kyrie Irving. Why would you create the exact same scenario just to the southwest in Brooklyn? A young team that had accomplished something. Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie, D'Angelo Russell if he's back. Young guys, just like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart. Young guys who made their way to the playoffs, with a veteran leadership presence to soften the edges. We had him on the show, here on the Will Cain Show just the other day, and Jared Dudley. Why would you do in Brooklyn what you did in Boston? It's a mistake. Don't burn your hand twice. As former President George W. Bush said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again. That's how Bush said it, something like that. It's fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Don't let the shame be on you, Brooklyn. Now, if you can get Kevin Durant, yay, good. Off and running. 1A, 1B paired together. Put that with the young guys, and you're set. And reports are Kevin Durant staying in New York City for the rehab of his Achilles rupture. And I believe I saw that he's also been operated on by the New Jersey Nets team physician. You might have some good insight there. Might be some good connections. And if you can get Kevin Durant, then you get Kyrie Irving to go with him. But we know from experience that you probably don't want Kyrie Irving as the best player with a bunch of young guys around you. We know from experience. It's brought to you by Farmers Insurance. Stay ahead of the game. Find an agent at farmers.com. I'm going to hit up the Shell Pennzoil Performance line here, but before
you do, can we correct the quote, by the way?
What quote?
It went like this. There's an old saying in Tennessee. I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee. They say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again. That's the correct quote, George W. Bush quote.
I think I was pretty close. While we're talking about quotes, can we also do this one, Nuno? Can we discuss Kyrie Irving's apparent quote to Brad Stevens going into a team meeting? There were reports a few days ago that on the way into a team meeting, Brad Stevens, I believe Doug Gottlieb said this the other day on his radio show. Brad Stevens was saying good morning to guys. Hi, how are you? Welcome. Let's go look at film session. And Kyrie Irving said to Brad Stevens, what is your definition of government? Or what does government mean to you? Brad Stevens fumbled around. I don't know. What does it mean to you, Kyrie? It means control. This dude's so super woke. This dude's so college sophomore, just read a book. This dude is insufferable.
Wouldn't he be? But he would be perfect in Brooklyn. Right? That's the feeling you get when you're in Brooklyn. So I think he would work.
Oh, if you're very much woke, there is no such thing as distraction.
Okay. So you're saying perfect fit in the Brooklyn Heights, Dumbo, Williamsburg, Brooklyn hipster community, Kyrie Irving, you got a new hero, Brooklyn.
Exactly.
Oh, if you're very much woke, there is no such thing as distraction.
Okay.
I have a question for you guys, okay? Let's go one at a time really quickly. Cerruti, what does the word government mean to you?
Means control.
Nice. Nuno, what does government mean to you?
The man.
It's a good one. It's good. Now, Bubba, in the woke fest, what does government mean to you?
Just great guys.
Just great guys.
Classic Bubba.
Just great guys all around.
Classic pro management Bubba.
Pro management Bubba. That's right. The guy that goes and tells Marcia everything we do wrong after every show. Pro management Bubba. Obviously, not very much woke. All right, coming up, the Celtics just ran that experiment with Kyrie Irving. Can they save their offseason?